Have you ever thought about a river not just as a body of water, but as a living, breathing scripture? Well, today, that's exactly what we're diving into. We're exploring one of India's most sacred rivers, the Narmada, to uncover its incredible mythological origins, a story that's not just about geography, but about divinity itself taking a physical form.
To really get the Narmada, you have to get your head around a core concept. In ancient India, Bharata, rivers aren't just water. They're goddesses, they're mothers, living forces of nature, and among all of them, one flows with a story that is truly unique and just unbelievably powerful. She goes by many names, sure. She is Reva, she is Narmada, but her origin is what's so singular. What makes her so special is that she's said to be born directly from the great god Rudra, who you probably know better as Shiva. And that direct, divine parentage, well, that's what sets her completely apart. So how in the world do we even know this story? Well, it all kicks off in this legendary place, the forest of Naimisharanya. You have to imagine a place of immense spiritual power, where all the great sages of the age have gathered together. Okay, so picture the scene. The revered sage Shaunoka is leading something called a satra. Now, this isn't just a simple ritual. This is a massive, long-term sacrificial ceremony, one that could last for years, maybe even centuries. It's right here in this incredibly charged spiritual atmosphere that a question gets asked that changes everything. The sages, they pose this absolutely crucial question. They're like, look, we get the stories of the other great rivers. We know about Sarasvati, whose links to Brahma, the creator. We know about the mighty Ganga tied to Vishnu, the preserver. But what about the third one? What's the real story of the river born from Rudra? Where does the Narmada truly come from? To answer a question like that, you can't just look at a map, right? You have to go to the ancient text. And to really appreciate the answer, we first need to understand the incredible authority of the source from which this entire story flows.
The one who steps up to answer the sages is Suta, a storyteller with a massive reputation. And his authority? It comes directly from his teacher, the legendary Vyasa. Vyasa is the monumental figure credited with organizing the most sacred texts of Hinduism, the Vedas, the Puranas, the whole shebang. So, this lineage, it's everything.
So think of sacred knowledge like this. You have Shruti, the divine revelations, and Smriti, the remembered traditions. Those are like two eyes, giving you a fundamental vision of reality. But to be fully sighted, to get the complete picture, you need the third eye. And that is the Purana, the ancient stories that just illuminate all the dense wisdom of the other two. You know, the Puranas are so important. They're given this incredible status. They're called the fifth Veda. Their entire purpose is to take the really complex, esoteric knowledge of the original four Vedas and translate it into narratives, into stories that everyone can understand and learn from, not just scholars and priests. So what exactly are these Puranas? Think of them as a kind of cosmic library. And believe me, the scale of this collection is truly, truly mind-boggling. Originally, at the dawn of our cosmic age, our Kalpa, there wasn't a whole collection of books. Can you imagine? There was just one single, unified Purana that was said to contain all the knowledge of the entire universe. And the size of this original text? 100 crore verses. That translates to 1 billion verses. It was so vast that today its complete, unabridged form is said to exist only in Devaloka, the realm of the gods. So how do we access it? Well, tradition says that in each cosmic cycle, as humanity's intellect starts to decline a bit, the great sage Vyasa incarnates, and he undertakes this monumental task of condensing that one massive text into 18 distinct parts, all to make this profound wisdom accessible for people like us.
And each of these 18 Puranas follows a very specific blueprint. To be considered a Mahapurana, a great Purana, a text has to cover these 5 core topics: the creation of the universe, its cycles of dissolution and recreation, the dynasties of the gods, the great ages of humanity, and the genealogies of kings.
Just look at the sheer scale we're dealing with here. You've got the Brahma Purana with 10,000 verses, the Padma Purana with a whopping 55,000, and many others, all adding up to hundreds of thousands of verses. This is the vast ocean of knowledge where the story of the Narmada comes from. Alright, so now that we've established the absolute authority and the cosmic scale of the Puranas, we can finally return to that great question from the sages. After that whole journey through the cosmic library, the answer can now be revealed. And Suta's answer is just profound. The Narmada is not just a river born of a god. She is a living Purana. She is the physical manifestation of sacred wisdom. So she doesn't just flow through the landscape of India, she flows through time itself, carrying the very essence of the ages in her waters. And because she is a living text, the very act of engaging with her story, just hearing her name, speaking of her glory, listening to her tale, is considered a purifying act in and of itself. The narrative itself carries immense spiritual power.
So what's the ultimate takeaway here? The Puranic tradition promises that anyone who engages with this sacred knowledge with real devotion doesn't just gain information, they achieve liberation. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought, doesn't it? Can a story be so powerful that just listening to it changes not just your mind but your entire destiny?